Have you ever noticed that some people do not seem to work harder than everyone else, yet their lives quietly become smoother, lighter, and more open, as if invisible roads keep appearing in front of them? And have you ever wondered why so many sincere practitioners say that reciting the Diamond Sutra over time brings a kind of incredible transformation, not like magic tricks, but like a deep rearranging of their fate, their temper, their way of seeing the world? Welcome back, my friend. Thank you for being here again, for letting your heart sit down for a while in the middle of everything you are carrying. In this long sharing, we are going to walk together into the living world of the Diamond Sutra, sometimes called the King of Wisdom teachings. We are not going to treat it as a dry text on a shelf. We are going to treat it as a mirror, as a medicine, as a path that can actually change the way your life unfolds, step by step. You may have heard that reciting the Diamond Sutra can dissolve obstacles, calm emotions, clear karmic debts, and make the road of life feel more aligned and supported. Today we will explore what that really means. From the outside, it might look like people who recite this sutra are just chanting words, but the real power of the Diamond Sutra is not in the sound alone, and not in the printed characters. Lies in one question that secretly runs through the whole text: where does your mind go when you recite? The sutra is not a spell to control the world. Is a teaching that shows you how your mind is creating the world you experience. When your mind changes, your way of walking through life changes. When your way of walking changes, your destiny quietly shifts. Many people think reciting the Diamond Sutra is about asking for blessings so that outer circumstances become softer. Reality, the deepest blessing, is that the sutra slowly takes you out of the prison of your own mistaken perceptions. The Buddha does not promise to erase all storms from your life. He shows you how to stand differently in the storm, how to see the clouds as clouds instead of permanent walls, how to recognize that much of your suffering comes not from what happens, but from how tightly you hold on to it. Let us begin with a sentence that appears near the end of the sutra. One of the most famous lines in Buddhist literature says that all conditioned things are like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, a shadow, like dew or lightning, and should be viewed as such. If you truly let that settle inside you, even a little, you may feel a shock. Everything you cling to as absolutely solid is actually shifting and fragile. Not just money and status, but even your moods, your roles, your relationships, your body, your opinions. First, this can feel scary. If everything is like a dream, then what can I rely on? But the Buddha is not telling you this to scare you. He is telling you because clinging to what cannot be clung to is the deepest source of anxiety and frustration in life. You suffer because you try to make permanent what is naturally changing. You try to make secure what is inherently unstable. You try to make your passing thoughts and emotions into your eternal self. When you recite the Diamond Sutra day after day, year after year, that teaching about the dream-like nature of things does not stay as philosophy. Slowly, it becomes a way of seeing. You start to catch yourself in the very moment of clinging. You notice that the argument you are about to start is based on a passing thought. You notice that the anxiety that kept you awake last night is already fading this morning. You notice that the version of yourself you defended so fiercely last year feels smaller and less important now. Let us bring this down into a real-life story. There was a middle-aged man. We will call him Peter. For most of his life, his temper was like a landmine. He got angry easily, especially when he felt disrespected. Work, he clashed with colleagues and bosses. home, he fought with his wife and children. He felt that life was unfair, that people did not understand him, that obstacles appeared everywhere he turned. One year, his career hit a painful wall. Project he had invested years into collapsed. His marriage was on the edge. His health was declining. In that time of collapse, he encountered the Diamond Sutra at a small temple. He did not understand much of it at first. The language was strange. The repeated phrases felt distant, but he was desperate enough to try anything. He made a simple vow each day. No matter how busy or tired, he would recite the Diamond Sutra once. The beginning, his mind wandered. While his mouth was chanting, his mind still replayed grievances, angry scenes, worry about money, but he kept going. For time, certain lines started to echo more strongly in his heart. One day, he came to the phrase that says all forms are illusions. He had heard it before, but this time it pierced him. He realized that so much of his suffering came from clinging to images, the image of being right, the image of being respected, the image of being a certain kind of successful man. Whenever reality did not match those images, his temper exploded. As he recited, he suddenly saw himself from the outside. In his mind's eye, he saw a man gripping tightly to a burning coal and then blaming the world for the pain in his hand. The coal was his rigid sense of self. The fire was his anger. That realization did not turn him into a saint overnight. He still got angry, but a new space appeared between feeling anger and acting on it. When someone said something that triggered him, he would suddenly hear in his memory the line about forms being illusions. He would think this is just a form, the sound, the temporary situation. Why really want to turn this into a huge battle? He began to pause. He began to keep quiet in moments when he would have shouted. He began to see that his wife's words were often about her own pain, not about attacking him. He began to notice his child's fear behind the misbehavior. This was the sutra at work, not as theory, but as a living transformation. He later said that the most incredible change was not that his outer life suddenly became perfect, but that his inner reactions changed. He stopped throwing gasoline on small sparks. He stopped making every disagreement a war. His temper softened, his relationship softened. Doors that had been closed began to open. People who once avoided him started trusting him again. From the outside, it looked like his luck finally changed. Inside, what changed was his relationship with his own mind. That is the Diamond Sutra gently rewriting a destiny. Why does that happen? Because the sutra is a master class in letting go of fixation. Keeps reminding you do not cling to marks, to images, to stories of self. Points over and over to the emptiness of those things. Emptiness here does not mean nothingness. Means that everything rises from causes and conditions and has no fixed, independent core. When you think about your problems, most of them feel unbearable because you treat their current form as absolute. This argument will ruin everything. This failure proves I'm worthless. This illness means my life is over. When you hear and slowly digest the teaching that all conditioned phenomena are like bubbles and shadows, you begin to loosen that grip. Another famous line in the Diamond Sutra says that if you look for the Buddha in any form, you will not find him, because the true Buddha is realized when all forms are understood to be non-fixed. The same is true of your own life. The moment you stop chasing a fixed image of happiness, a fixed image of who you must be, you become freer to respond to the living reality in front of you. Let us turn to another story from ordinary life, the story of a woman and her mother-in-law. This woman had been married for several years. Her relationship with her mother-in-law was always tense. No matter what he did, he felt criticized. Every word from that older woman seemed to carry hidden blame. Over time, her heart hardened. He felt injustice, resentment, fatigue. He tried to avoid her, but family obligations made that impossible. In desperation, out of great wisdom, he started reciting the Diamond Sutra after hearing someone say it might help with difficult relationships. First, he hoped that the sutra would change her mother-in-law's behavior. He thought, if I chant sincerely, maybe that person will become nicer, will stop picking on me. But the Diamond Sutra is rarely interested in changing others first. It goes straight to the root of your own misperceptions. One day, while reciting, he lingered on the phrase, "Whatever has appearance is illusory." It echoed in her mind, "Whatever has appearance is illusory." He suddenly saw that the image of her mother-in-law she carried in her mind was fixed and solid. Her inner world, that woman, had become nothing but a bundle of criticism and negativity. He no longer saw her as a human being with her own fears, habits, and karmic patterns. He saw only a role and enemy. When he realized this, it was as if a pit of ice melted. He did not need to force herself to love this woman. He only needed to stop taking every word as an absolute judgment. He began to see her mother-in-law's complaints as expressions of her own insecurity, her own need to feel important. So he stopped fighting every comment. When a sarcastic remark came, he would remember the phrase about appearances. He mentally relaxed her shoulders. He smiled lightly, changed the topic, or gently responded. He no longer needed to prove herself in every interaction. For time, something remarkable happened. Because he stopped hardening, the space between them softened. The older woman sensed less resistance and felt less threatened. Her tone changed. Small acts of kindness started to appear on both sides. No big dramatic reconciliation ceremony was needed. As the younger woman loosened her grip on the picture in her mind, the relationship slowly rewrote itself. He later said, "The Diamond Sutra did not change my mother-in-law. It changed my attachment to my picture of her. That was enough to free both of us." This is another way the sutra makes life smoother. It does not magically erase difficult people from your path. It dissolves your habit of turning every encounter into a fixed story. When stories become lighter, you suffer less. When you suffer less, you react less. When you react less, your life becomes less tangled. The Diamond Sutra also has a powerful effect on how you understand giving and receiving, what Buddhism calls generosity, or giving of the heart. There is a well-known teaching within the sutra about practicing generosity without clinging. Says that someone who gives should not cling to the idea of a giver or receiver or a gift. At deep level, this means that the purest generosity is free of ego. You do not give in order to build an identity as a cup person. You do not give in order to gain praise, reward, or hidden influence. You give because giving is natural when the heart is not contracted. On a practical level, when you recite this teaching again and again, it begins to reshape how you relate to merit, blessings, and karma. Many people, even spiritual people, have a transactional relationship with the deeds. They think, if I give this amount, then life must pay me back with that outcome. Things do not go as expected. They feel angry, cheated even by the Buddha. The Diamond Sutra gently cuts through this. It reminds you that clinging even to your own goodness becomes an obstacle. When you constantly count your kindness, constantly remember how much you have sacrificed, constantly compare what you gave with what you got back, your heart fills with heavy accounts. Instead of feeling light, your generosity becomes a burden. There was a woman who shared that he had gone through a very painful divorce. Her husband betrayed her trust, and he left with a broken heart, a child to raise, and many financial worries. During that period, he began reciting the Diamond Sutra daily, partly to ask for protection, partly because he had no other support. You read one line that kept returning to her mind: "Do not abide in anything." You reflected and realized that she had been living inside a house built of resentment. Every day her thoughts circled what he did to me, how unfair it was, how much I gave, how little I received. Each thought strengthened a wall around her heart. Slowly, through recitation and honest reflection, he began to let go, not of justice, but of her obsession. He stopped replaying the story to herself and to others. He stopped measuring her life only by that one wound. He began to say in her heart, "What happened has happened. Can learn from it, protect myself, protect my child, and also stop drinking this poison every day." She let go of the identity of a victim. Her utter life started to reorganize. He found steady work. Her relationship with her child became more relaxed, with friendships formed. You later said, "I did not recite the Diamond Sutra to get anything. What changed everything was what I stopped holding." This is one of the most mystical yet practical aspects of Buddhist wisdom. Often, the blessing does not come from adding something new to your life. It comes from subtracting what should not be there. When your heart is less filled with old grievances, fears, and ego stories, the path in front of you feels less blocked. In spiritual language, we could say that reciting the Diamond Sutra helps adjust your karma, but the mechanism is not mysterious. Karma is not only fast actions. It is also the habits of thinking and reacting that you recreate every day. The sutra repeatedly guides you to see through those habits and choose less clinging. As you do, you stop creating fresh negative causes on top of old ones. Slowly, the river of your destiny becomes clear. One of the biggest knots that the Diamond Sutra unties is called the attachment to self, the sense of a solid, separate it that must always be protected and satisfied. The sutra uses the language of abandoning the marks of self, person, being, and lifespan. This sounds abstract until you look at your actual experience. Most of your mental pain can be connected to that one little word, feel insulted. Did so much, it deserved better. Cannot lose. I must be understood. I was treated unfairly. These feelings are human and natural, but when the sense of becomes very rigid and central, every small event feels like an attack or a threat. The Diamond Sutra does not tell you to trace your personality or deny your feelings. It invites you to loosen the center. Suggests that what you call is actually a flowing collection of body, feelings, perceptions, and habits, all changing. When you believe that this bundle is a solid, fixed structure, you cling to it and suffer. When you recite lines about non-self again and again, part of you may resist. There is a fear that without a strong I, you will be weak, passive, or exploited. What as your understanding deepens, you discover the opposite. The less tightly you cling to this rigid self-image, the more flexible you become. You are less easily offended. You can admit mistakes without feeling destroyed. You can listen to others without feeling like you are losing ground. Any long-term reciters of the Diamond Sutra describe a similar set of changes. They say that over time their temper becomes softer, their anxiety less intense, their thoughts less chaotic. They notice that they are less easily pushed by emotions into extreme actions. They still feel sadness, fear, and anger, but those feelings pass through more quickly. From the outside, this looks like personality improvement. From the inside, it feels like the mind becoming more spacious. The same events happen. Deal falls through. Someone speaks harshly. Family member disappoints you. But instead of reacting like a cornered animal, you respond like someone standing in a larger room. Why does life become smoother for such a person? Not because the world has changed its nature, but because their mind has stopped turning every bump in the road into a giant wall. The Diamond Sutra repeatedly points out that searching for security in forms is futile. Forms include money, fame, praise, even spiritual experiences. When you chase these as your refuge, your heart lives on a roller coaster. When they increase, you feel high. When they decrease, you feel low. The sutra invites you to discover a different kind of refuge awakening itself, the ability to see clearly. When you place your trust not in external conditions, but in your own growing wisdom and compassion, your stability increases. You realize that you cannot control everything that happens, but you can cultivate the way you meet it. Over time, this shift in refuge subtly changes your karmic landscape. People who are more stable and less reactive tend to attract more trust. Trust brings opportunities. Opportunities, handled with integrity, bring material and relational support. We could say that blessings gather where they feel safe. Mind constantly exploding with anger and greed is not a safe container for blessings. Mind that is calmer, kinder, and more honest is. It is also worth talking about how the Diamond Sutra turns recitation itself into a kind of meditation. There is a difference between chanting mechanically and chanting with presence. Few treat the sutra as a test to complete or a magic formula to gain something. Your heart remains far away. The words pass through your mouth but not through your consciousness. What if each time you sit down to recite, you treat it as a meeting with your own mind? Something else happens. You let the rhythm of the words slow your breathing. You let the meaning, to the extent that you understand it, wash through your daily worries. When a line touches you, you pause mentally and feel its impact. This way, recitation becomes a daily session of cleansing. All the dust gathered from work, from family tensions, from society's noise is gently washed. You learn to return again and again to the space of listening. That listening, you begin to hear not just the Buddha's words, but your own inner tendencies. You notice the recurring patterns that cause you trouble. Some teachings describe the Diamond Sutra as a sword that cuts illusions. This can sound violent, but it is not physical cutting. It cuts through confusion. The edge of that sword is awareness. The handle of that sword is compassion. When you apply it, you are not attacking yourself, you are freeing yourself from what harms you. You might be wondering, if the Diamond Sutra is so powerful, why do some people recite it for years and still feel stuck? That is an important question. One reason is that recitation without reflection is like reading a prescription without taking the medicine. You might be able to recite the text flawlessly, but if you do not apply its teachings to your attachments, its effect remains shallow. You can chant about non-attachment while clinging to your opinions in every conversation. You can chant about generosity while resenting every time you need to give. In that case, the sutra cannot reach you deeply. Another reason is impatience. The mind wants quick results. It expects that chanting a certain number of times will erase all problems. When that does not happen, it feels disappointed and gives up, but the reshaping of deep habits takes time. Think of how long you spent strengthening those habits since childhood. It is not realistic to dissolve them overnight. The Diamond Sutra works more like water carving through rock. Each recitation is a drop. First, it seems like nothing is changing, but over months and years, the marks become visible. Short temper softens. Tendency to panic reduces. Habit of blaming others shrinks. These changes are already enormous. And there is a third reason why some people do not feel much benefit. They recite with a heart full of bargaining, humility. Their inner attitude is, if I do this for you, you must do that for me. But spiritual practice is a relationship, not a business contract. The Diamond Sutra responds most deeply to a heart that says, I am willing to see where I am wrong. I am willing to look at my own attachments. I am willing to grow up spiritually. So, how can you recite in a way that allows the unimaginable power of this sutra to enter your life? Begin simply. Sit or stand or walk, but be clear that this time is dedicated to meeting your own mind through the words of the sutra. Before you start, take a couple of natural breaths and silently set an intention. You might think, may this recitation support my awakening and benefit all beings. May it help me loosen my clinging and increase my wisdom. As you recite, notice when your mind wanders. Well, kindly bring it back. When a line strikes you, pause inside. Ask yourself where this applies in your life. For example, when you recite, whatever has appearance is illusory, you can reflect on where you are taking appearances too seriously today. Maybe it is in a social media image, a comment someone made, a fear about your reputation. When you recite about non-self, look at where your insistence on is hurting you right now. Maybe it is in a stubborn argument with a family member. Maybe it is in refusing to apologize at work. Maybe it is in refusing to accept your own limitations. When you recite about giving without clinging, examine where you are keeping score. Were you silently counting your sacrifices and cursing those who do not acknowledge them? Can you relax that a little? This way, each recitation becomes a dialogue between the sutra and your everyday life. The wisdom of the text pours into the container of your experiences. Slowly, the container changes shape. And as your container changes, your world changes, not because the streets rearrange themselves, but because your inner map is rewritten. Road that once looked like a dead end now reveals a small hidden path. Situation that once felt unbearable becomes workable. Person you saw as an enemy becomes a teacher. If you look back after a few years of sincere recitation and reflection, you may notice a pattern. The accidents that used to happen do not happen as often. Conflicts that used to explode calm down faster. Storms that once lasted for weeks now pass in days or hours. You might say my life has become more and more aligned. From the perspective of karma and spiritual cause and effect, this is not mysterious. When your thoughts, words, and actions become less reactive and more compassionate, you stop creating new chaotic karma. Old karma still has to ripen, but without constant fresh fuel, the intensity decreases, where life becomes more like a river flowing around rocks rather than water slamming against every obstacle. The deepest level, the most unbelievable power of the Diamond Sutra is this: it shows you again and again how to wake up from the dream of solidity. When you see that your problems, your fears, your identities are not as solid as you imagine, you can hold them more lightly, you can act more wisely, you can love more freely. My friend, as we come toward the end of this long sharing, I want to speak directly to your heart. Maybe you are in a difficult period right now. Perhaps work is unstable. Perhaps your relationships are painful. Perhaps your health is fragile. Perhaps you are simply tired of your own emotions. If you feel drawn to the Diamond Sutra, do not worry about whether you understand everything. Then the great masters spent their whole lives studying it. What matters is sincerity. You can begin with one recitation a day, or even one section. You can begin by holding just one line in your heart throughout the day. When you are about to argue, remember all forms are illusory. When you are about to sink into self-pity, remember, do not abide in any mark. When you are about to hold tightly to your merit, remember, give without clinging. When you are about to drown in guilt or shame, remember that even these are passing phenomena, not your true nature. Let the sutra be a daily reminder not to be deceived by surfaces. Let it be a gentle hand on your shoulder, turning your head from upward obsession back to inward clarity. Please also remember that the purpose of this practice is not to become special or supernatural. It is to become real, awake, and compassionate. The more you absorb the Diamond Sutra, the more ordinary you may appear on the outside. You still go to work, cook, care for family, pay bills, but inside, something is different. You are less tightly wound. You do not get pulled as easily into the collective madness of fear and greed. You move through life with a bit more space and light. That is what it means when people say that reciting the Diamond Sutra makes the path of life smoother. If you have your own stories of how this sutra has touched you, shifted your temper, softened your mind, or changed your fate, I would truly be honored if you share them. Somewhere out there, someone is scared and confused, hearing about the Diamond Sutra for the first time, or lived experience may be the rope they hold on to as they take their first steps. If this long sharing has offered you even a little peace or insight, I gently invite you to support this channel. You can subscribe so you will not miss future videos. You can leave a like so this content can reach more hearts, and you can share it with someone you care about who might be struggling. If you feel called to support more deeply, you can consider joining as a member, helping to sustain a space where ancient wisdom and modern life meet in honest conversation. Thank you for staying with me all the way to the end. Your heart gradually become as clear and unshakable as a diamond, yet as soft and compassionate as a gentle hand. Every recitation of the sutra be not just sound, but a step on the path of awakening, and may your life, as you walk this path, become more and more aligned, more and more luminous, and more free. Life gets noisy. Work, stress, expectations. Sometimes we lose touch with the quiet part of ourselves. Bracelet isn't just an accessory. It's a small reminder that you deserve peace. You deserve moments of stillness. You deserve to hold on to your inner balance. If one of these bracelets speaks to your heart, you'll find the purchase link in the description below. And even more auctions available on our channel's shop page. Pick home the one that feels right.